What's going on, guys? For 5 Reasons Sports, this is Kai Chen Chisholm, and today we're going to be talking about the latest news in the CDL. Now, this is not roster changes, this is not some of your normal Miami content, but of course, whenever something big in the CDL happens, I do want to be able to bring it to you guys and kind of record and, flex some of my actual knowledge on the CDL, which also used to be the CWL. And for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, that's the Call of Duty League, also known as the Call of Duty World League back before franchising. But this is the big update. This is finally something that we get that involves franchising, and finally something that we get that has been expected. Now, if you didn't see last month, I think pretty much, or maybe a couple weeks ago, I put a video right here talking about the latest acquisition that was the owner or former owner of OpTic Gaming, now owner of OpTic Gaming, HECZ, or just now really known as HECZ, repurchasing the intellectual property of OpTic Gaming, basically meaning he bought the namesake and everything that has to do with the rights and naming of OpTic Gaming. So anything that has OpTic on it, OpTic Gaming, OpTic whatever, is now repurchased and re-owned by Hector Rodriguez. Now, Hector Rodriguez, of course, also known as HECZ, and so that's what I will continue to refer to him as, is just HECZ, or maybe Rodriguez now and then, whatever. I guess you could say that he's the founder in a way, but he's one of many founders, of course, along with a couple other people, some who shall not be named, those who are a little more well-versed into the CWL or CDL or COD in general, kind of know the whole story of OpTic Gaming and how that all went down. It'll take too long to explain here, so if you want to know some more knowledge on that, I suggest that you do some research on that, because it is a really, really touching story. But anyways, he's part of a group, but he's kind of more so really known as the founder of OpTic. And why? Because he is the guy. Obviously, there was an actual founder. I can't remember his name off the bat right now, but he was the guy. Whenever anyone associated OpTic with anything, it was either, at the time, it was Nadeshot or HECZ. Now, of course, it's HECZ and Scumpy, but, Scumpy not there. But when they think of OpTic Gaming, they think of HECZ. Nadeshot, when, Matthew Haig, when he was really big. I mean, one of the first COD pros to really touch onto the YouTube and Twitch scene before it was MLG TV. But he was a huge, streamer in the COD scene. He was a huge YouTuber in the COD scene. Now, of course, owns 100 Thieves and is the founder, CEO, everything like that, along with John Robinson, I think, which is one of his partners. And then a couple other people. I know Drake is a owner, as well as Scooter Braun. And he runs 100 Thieves and he does everything good there. But he was formerly of OpTic Gaming and everything like that. But that's what they associate him with, right? HECZ is associated with OpTic. So he bought the team back, or the namesake back. But the issue that arose there was that currently he is the co-owner and CEO of NRG, which owns the Chicago Huntsmen, which play in the CDL. So the big issue with the franchising is that you cannot have two teams under the same ownership group because of a conflict of interest. The big issue that arose when he bought all the intellectual property of OpTic Gaming, which meant he got everything. He essentially bought everything back. He bought the IP. He bought everything that is associated with OpTic Gaming back. From Immortals, I believe, which is who bought it from Infinite. So he buys OpTic Gaming back from Immortals. And the big topic that arose was, okay, conflict of interest, cannot hold two teams. He has to divest one of those interests. Does he go with OpTic Gaming LA, or does he stick with Chicago Huntsman and try to make that maybe Chicago OpTic, or Chicago OpTic Gaming, whatever the case, right? So with all of that being said, where was this going to go? What was he going to sell off the names of OpTic? Was he going to sell the spot? Who was he going to sell the spot to? And the first name that came up was, of course, Nadeshot. However, Nadeshot said this in one of his streams that made a lot of people feel like that wasn't really going to happen.
Obviously, a lot of people are talking about what's going on with Hector. I don't really have a comment on it, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm sort of out the loop. I don't know if this story is true.
Battle Royale. Gas is closing on your position.
For
Suggest you get
an acquisition like that, I think Hector probably keep that close to his chest. So I don't know. So if you guys are asking me, I don't really have an idea. LA Thieves has a nice ring to it, but guys, we're not really in a position to get back into Call of Duty. It's really, really expensive. So we'll see. Maybe down the road in the future, I don't know, but I don't want you guys to get your hopes up.
And of course, with Nadeshot saying that, with him saying that, it's too expensive, that's one of the things that we touched on in that previous video when we talked about this before, is that it was just, he kept saying it's too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. He made that a year ago, a year plus now, actually, when he mentioned that franchising was too expensive, and he said it again there. But I guess it's all, wrong, because Dexerto, which the article will pop up either on the screen or it'll pop up here, whatever it is, right, will also be down below in the description. They put out an article pretty much saying that 100 Thieves rebought a spot into Call of Duty by buying the spot for the CDL from Hector Rodriguez, also known as HECZ, and OpTic Gaming. So essentially, what all the rumors of what everyone thought was, if this was going to go down, if he did buy OpTic Gaming back, talking about HECZ, he's going to sell it to Nate Shot. Obviously, there will be things that like in place and, fair play and everything like that. So it's not going to be for, dirt cheap, but he was going to sell it to Nate Shot. Those spots, I believe, are going for, I said 5 million in the video before, but when I did my research, I believe it was 25 million. So I messed up there. So obviously it's going to sell it. And there were a lot of things that went down to that. 100 Thieves let go of their CSGO team because you can't have two teams competing, I guess, under the same namesake. So now maybe this is going to be the LA Thieves. But of course they compete in League of Legends, but League of Legends is also under the Activision Blizzard kind of situation and scenario there. So that could go into a different way. There was a lot of issues that were rising. It was too expensive, blah, 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 but they let go of their CSGO team recently. They do have still a Valorant team, their League of Legends team, and they compete in Fortnite and some other things. But now the big thing is, according to Dexerto, Nate Shot, 100 Thieves, they've rebought that from OpTic Gaming. They bought that spot. Of course, approval might have had to already go through, because if it's rumored that they bought it, that means that either A, it's already been approved by the CDL and the franchises in general, or B, they bought the spot and now it needs to be approved. So it's probably pending approval. But it pretty much just means that now they're going to have that spot secured. LA Thieves is going to be a thing again, they're going to be a thing. They weren't even really a thing. It was just 100 Thieves, but now bringing in a name like Nate Shot will be the huge bringer. I talked about in the video before, is that having a guy like Nate Shot back into the scene of Call of Duty, I mean, he's considered, although he's not considered the greatest of all time, you think of Crim6, Karma, Scumpy, Clayster is now putting his name into that category. He is considered one of the godfathers of Call of Duty. So getting a guy like that back, getting a guy like that put back into the Call of Duty scene is very good for COD. And then on top of all of that, now it's okay. If they're going to be LA Thieves, does Chicago take that name for OpTic Gaming? Apparently, they're not going to allow that to happen because Huntsman is one of the more popular names in all of the franchises. But if I'm the CDL, I would love to have 100 Thieves and OpTic Gaming as those two brands, because 100 Thieves, we've already seen with Nate Shot, is huge. So having him is great. And then OpTic Gaming is a name that speaks for itself. OpTic's playing somebody, there's 100,000 plus in that, watching that game on that stream, on Twitch, in the crowds. It's OpTic Gaming all the time. If you're the CDL, maybe you give Chicago the right to kind of, and by Chicago, I mean, Chicago and NRG, the right to change to the Chicago OpTic or Chicago OpTic Gaming or OG, like OpTic Gaming Chicago, whatever whatever you need to do. And of course you have LA Thieves. It's great. Now, of course, you have to think about the contracts, guys like Kenny, guys like Slasher, TJ Halley, and I think, well, I can't remember the last person that's on OGLA right now, or I guess LA 100 Thieves. Do those contracts now go with 100 Thieves? Kenny and Slasher were previously with 100 Thieves the year prior, before franchising started. Then they were let go of their contracts, or their contracts were sold to OpTic Gaming LA. So what happens now? Of course, whenever stuff comes out, I'll have a video out for you guys. I'm really excited. I'm a huge fan of Nate Shot. I'm a huge fan of Call of Duty in general. So this is something that's really huge just for COD and for Nate Shot and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think down below in the description, and I will see you guys next time.